I'll tell you about this guy. So Ramon met him at an outreach event. And what I love about this dude, before I let him begin to tell his story a little bit, is that he's so modest, he's so kind, he's like a poet on the streets that should not have been on the streets. You know, none of us should be on the streets. But he especially, because he was kind and sensitive and a poet. Come on up, man. There's a bunch of seats up here. You're welcome to grab any one of them. You're very welcome. And so when they met this guy, they're cutting his hair. He did the shower routine. And Ramon and Roberto said to him, hey man, there's a program here that lasts for a year. You might consider it. Come on in, give it a shot. What happened next?
I came for a shower, and it turned out to also include a haircut. And after the haircut, I came for the meal. It was during Thanksgiving. Ramon and Roberto were telling me about this program here at the rescue mission. And at the time I was homeless. I didn't have anywhere to live. So I was on the streets, and I couldn't take the streets anymore. I was desperate for housing. And I was going crazy out on the streets, a lot of stress, a lot of
danger, huh?
Danger,
yeah.
Yes.
Tell him how you created that little lookout group for friends.
Yes, so we started out a watch in our camping ground, and right here in the Civic Center. That's where I used to stay and sleep during the nights. And we used to get our things stolen during the night. So we organized ourselves to keep a watch at night for 2 hours, 6 of us. So we were supporting each other through that frightful night.
Yeah. And what happened was when Martin took them up on their offer and he got into the program, what I saw was a really gentle man. And why that turns my head is, I grew up in Texas where my brothers and I were, socialized to be, tough, doombuggies, motorcycles, guns, girlfriends, the whole thing, slingshots. Whereas I had a gentle, kind, sensitive brother like Martin, who was overwhelmed by bullying and so forth and committed suicide. So I've always been extra attuned to men that have the strength to show vulnerability, to show kindness, to show sensitivity. And so when he came in here, he really turned my head, because in this men's group, he was very kind and considerate to others. And individuals like Ramon and Roberto and others began to make him feel more and more welcome. And his confidence grew. And the night his confidence exploded was when what happened?
I started singing Elvis.
He was at a talent show, and he did an Elvis Presley song, and he had his hair cut like Elvis Presley. Man, did he tear it up. The audience went crazy, and then a few of us, whenever we saw him in weeks and months to come, we were calling him Elvis. You look in my phone right now, if you type in Elvis, he pops up. So what's going on here is we're talking about how one's confidence grows in here, and if you really apply that faith, that counseling, I've had so many alumni tell me that paying attention to the counseling, the lessons, the classes really matter. Apply them. There was one alumni member that got a killer job, but they put an inordinate amount of stress on him. And he said to me over the phone, what I learned in Amy Tovar's class, that got me through some tough stuff, which I thought was a really cool vote of confidence. So what happened with Martin that I love is he then took this kindness, this generosity. He got a job. Who helped you get that job, by the way? Who opened that door for you? Roberto
and Ramon.
Okay.
Ramon and Roberto.
And then he has in turn helped others get jobs. And then he also had a bike which he used, which was loaned by another alumni. He then passed that bike on, which we got to another alumni member. What's the point? A network of support, friendship, love, encouragement. And what I really appreciated is he was really changing his thinking. You know, medications and how you slept and how you ate and how you thought. You were just doing all these things to get stronger. And you have gotten stronger. You know, instead of thinking always about what could go wrong, what are your weaknesses, you lean into your strengths. And this guy ends up thriving on the job. He moved from here to Salvation Army, and I could tell that night that I moved him in that he was a little scared. We met his roommate, who was, you know, okay. But what happened was he rode his bike, he went to work, he saved his money, and he just continues to thrive. What can you offer them as hope and encouragement? Because there's excitement and there's fear in all of their hearts as they make this change.
First of all, you have to change to God. God gives you the strength to wake up every morning. God gives you the strength to behave and respectful. And God gives you everything you need. Anything you need, God will provide it to you. So as an encouragement, each time you wake up for devotions, pay attention to what they're saying about God. Find each Sunday time to go to church. I still go to church every Sunday. I still haven't lost my faith and strength towards God. I always pray. My relationship towards my family and the reason because I am to God has strengthened and bonded us closer.
Mm-hmm.
And things are wonderful. Things are beautiful. Things can't be any better than they are now for me. I am so happy to be here. I was at home thinking, what am I going to say? What can I tell you that is going to affect a positive and constructive change towards the reason why you wake up each and every morning? Look into God, find that relationship with God, and keep on striving. You gotta get a job. You gotta do your part. God does His part. You gotta do your part. What you gotta do? You gotta wake up. You gotta eat. You have to find a job.
And you know, when you talk about this, that reminds me, there's this beautiful woman who graduated from here who talks about overcoming severe mental illness. And the way she talked about what he just said, she said, I got my little routine. She says, I know the routine that I need. I've learned it, you know, I've got my medication, I have certain practices, things I need to do for myself. Self-care, my routine, and I stick with it. And she said, that's how I get by. And she's not just getting by, she's doing really well in her job, and she's moving forward, and she's speaking publicly, and things are happening that she never dreamed possible. Now, she sent me a couple of days ago pictures of her with a garden that she's growing. And I'm telling you, she never dreamed that she'd touch anything that wouldn't die. And it is thriving. So I think that people like Martin give us an incredible amount of hope, just because when you go from hopeless to hopeful, and by the way, I want to give him more props. You may have heard in here that we talked about jobs being A, B, C. A is get any job, because it's good for you. It's good for your self-esteem. You know, put some money in your pocket. While you're here, costs nothing, so save money, right? It teaches you not to blow money. It teaches you to manage it. B is move to a better job, which he's done. C is career. So what he's done recently, now that he's calm and he's in this setting, he's doing well, he said, what kind of job would I like? What would I feel like I would be truly fulfilled by doing? And he said, I'd like to be trained and working at the rescue mission. So we met with Sarah Krensling, and she told him about an educational program that would really prepare him to be an amazing CLA or advocate. And he's looking into that college program. He's looking at how he could manage those dollars. So the man is charting a really bright future. Can we give him some applause? Thank you.